Next coming up is James Rebel O'Leary. Their organization formed in 1969. They travel all across the country doing country music. From here, they go to Nashville. At the end of May, they're at the Texas Jamboree and Fanfare. So they're a traveling Rebel O'Leary show.
O'Leary, Rebel James O'Leary, and Jamie Ann. How you doing?
Fine so far, thank you.
I understand that you just received an award here at Fanfare. You want to tell me about it?
Well, it's a country music.
It's from the Country Music Pioneers. It's a reunion year. You've had to serve over 25 years in country music to become a member of it. Rebel was indoctrinated approximately, we were notified in May, and official indoctrination will be at the show on Friday night at the Executive Inn.
At the Executive Inn. What time is that?
It runs from about 5:30 until, it's like all the rest of them during Fanfare, it just keeps going on.
You know, I've known both of you for quite some time, and you've really done a good job. How many, I know you just played hundreds and hundreds of jobs in the United States, and you put your van, I don't know how many thousands of miles you put on that thing, but you want to tell us?
7 vans and a bus.
7 vans and a bus, huh?
And a lot of motors in the red one.
A lot of money running up and down that road, right?
Yeah, you got either pay or have a bill.
Think it's all worth it?
Oh, yes. I have frustrating experiences naturally after all these years, but when you boil it down, I wouldn't do anything else. I'd do it again.
Well, that's great. Jamie, I noticed that in the performances that you do and that, you're a very integral part of it. Do you also run the fan club and things of this nature?
No, we run a lot of the promotions. A lot of the work's divided up on the road. Okay, when you get as large as Ricky Skaggs, then you can have a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in an intermediate stage, you've got to do a lot of that on the road yourself. Besides that, I think no matter how large Rebel gets, we're going to stay involved in it. That's a very important part. You've got to know the people. You know, you may not necessarily recognize them just upon seeing them, but that face will strike a memory, and you'll know that somewhere along the line they were there before, and it's important the fact that they come back. If they don't come back, they're in trouble.
Yeah, that's right. It's the fans that really make it, isn't
Without
it?
the fans, you're not. So.
Yeah, that's correct. Is this also a family operation?
No, it's...
That's a half-and-half situation. We've got a lot of family that staff it at home. It's a lot better. Nowadays, in these days and times, it's hard for people. And the members that travel the road, if they're people that they leave behind are involved in it, then they feel a part of it. If you have somebody who's working the show and they're not involved in what their family's doing, then it's hard for them to deal with it. It's hard for them to say, okay, we'll go out, be there 3 weeks, you know, just forget about me. You know, if they're at home and they're intaking what's coming in and they're helping you, it's got to go that way. You know, it's got to be a total operation, whether they're a blood relation or not. It's got to be a unity. People have got to work smooth. It's got to run.
And how many years you been doing this?
About 31, going on 32, I think, October the 8th.
October the 8th. That's a long time. Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah, it don't seem that long, though. It just seems so...
Yeah, well, time goes fast when you're having fun. You always want to remember that.
In every state in the Union and about 11 countries overseas.
Right, that's great. What countries overseas have you?
The main ones are England, Germany, and France, and then I got down around South America a little bit, but mostly I would say we stick around from England on to it.
Yeah, you know, traditional country and good old hardcore country is really big over in them countries.
Yes, it is, especially England. Now, as you get up towards some of the countries, the Baltic countries there, they don't quite understand you. I played a couple shows, and matter of fact, over in France, if they didn't, they have a applaud sign, they're raising. I wonder why they all applaud about it. They couldn't understand me, but yet they enjoyed the music, you know.
Right.
And I wonder why everybody stood up, you know. I thought somebody stole the chairs, but he said, no, that's the way they do it here. It's an audience, you know, the sign comes a lot. It lights up, you know, and everybody stands.
You know, there's a lot of people, young people especially. I know we traveled about 40 to 80 festivals a year, and we've noticed last year we was Bob Everhart's festival there in Avoca, Iowa, which had 50,000 people there. And there's a lot of young people, 13 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, they're really getting into country music today. As both of you are veterans of the running up and down that road and performing, you got any words of advice for young people today?
Well, if you believe in it and you really want it, it's no pushover. Stick with it. It'll come to you. It takes a little while sometimes. I mean, a lot of turn back. A lot of get after 3 or 4 years, they don't hit it right away, and then they drop off. And they might be great talents, see, but it is a hassle. I mean, no, it's no joke about it. Even today, sometime I run on the road, some of the banquet or some of the place you go there, you've been canceled or something, you know, you can get excited. But I do a quotation of the Bible, I told you. It says, anger, but sin not. See?
Yeah.
So I always think of this part, you know.
You've also opened for a lot of major artists in your career, haven't you? You want to name a few of them for me?
I had back to the Wheel and Jamboree, like Lee Moore was on the Wheel and Jamboree back there, and Doc Williams has been performing with him back there, and Patsy Cline.
Jim started out and you just grabbed the guitar and went.
That's what I did.
You worked a lot of package shows. We did with Little Jimmy Dickens, Merle Kilgore. I don't think it was too long ago. Little Jimmy Dickens was
Ernest Tubb, especially, because I knew him. He's like a father to me. He's from my same part of the country. I'm Texas. And I met a lot of Texans up this way, and they give me a lot of break. Tex Ritter was a good friend of mine. Both the gentlemen passed on, but they'd be no finer. Because they were the type of person who would give you a break. You know, I put up in the old days just a guitar in my hand, you know. And nowadays you move 30 to 40,000 pounds of equipment, you know, just to set up.
That's right.
And it's a lot different, you know. Of course, the pays went up. I remember starting to do a lot of shows. My younger years, $10 or $15 a show. Now you maybe 500 times the amount you're pushing on the stage, but you don't have any more. It just goes a little more. The more you make, the more you spend, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
But
We've been talking here with James Rebel O'Leary and Jamie Ann, and by golly, we really appreciate the interview, okay? And we want to get over there, back over to Fanfare at the booth, so we're going to let you go, okay?
Yeah, I'm in Building D, 406 and 407.
James Rebel O'Leary booth here at 1987 Fanfare. You betcha. How you doing, James?
Fine, thank you. Not a hot word this year, though.
A lot of people here today.
Lots of nice, all nice people on.
You betcha. To sell. I even see you got a fish bowl here. What's that for?
Well, during Fanfare, we donate most of the money we make to charity. We do for a lot of different children's charities. We put on different children's shows. We take children to like the circuses, the shrine circuses, and so forth. A lot of our stuff is donated. We do benefits throughout the year, and that's what we've been enjoying.
Oh, that's great. That's a nice thing to do. You've got two booths this year. Have you always had two booths here at Fanfare?
We've always had two booths for a very long time. I have to say at least for the last 7, 8 years.
Is that right? Well, that's nice, yeah.
They figured we needed to. We kept growing, and so did our stuff, so they gave us two.
Who decorates the booth?
It's done by our own crew.
Well, that's great.
We have about 13 people, 14 that come in here, and they kind of set it up like on a Sunday.
How many people do you figure in James' fan club, in the fan club now?
We have a mailing list of over 10,000 people.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, that's hard to keep up with today's postage rate, ain't it?
Well, it's they each get an annual membership type debt.